You're about to listen to the Nintendo PlayStation Podcast.
How do I do the 50-50 screen? Every time I forget.
I have no idea. I don't know because I don't use it. I don't care. I only need to see you. I don't need to see me.
Oh yeah, I've done it, Bob. Keep your fluff on. I've done it. Right?
First off, what's fluff? Second off, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I fixed it, so you don't have to worry.
Well, I
Stop
fixed
going
it.
on about it.
Who's going on about it? I haven't done anything.
Come on, let's be professional.
Okay, yeah, the one that's all unprofessional is going to tell me to be professional.
Sorry, I'm just adjusting right now. We want to be comfortable.
We want to be comfortable. You want to be comfortable. I am comfortable. I've been waiting for you for 20 minutes here.
I'm ready. My body is ready.
All right, is it? You sure? Because
Really?
you're like moving stuff all over the place.
It's fine.
Okay, it's
Just
fine.
chillax.
Listen, you got a real chipper attitude. You got a real chip on your shoulder over there.
Chillax,
Just because you
Bobby.
won that stupid poll doesn't mean you can be all nasty now.
Look, Bobby, right? You're the one who is upset about that.
Listen,
For an entire week, you're mentioning it in every one of your videos.
You know why I'm upset? You know why I'm upset? Because there's a lot of people that are my friends that are trolls and totally voted for you just to piss me off.
No, Bobby.
And you probably went to people and told them to do that.
I didn't do any such thing, Bobby. They're just voting with their hearts. They're speaking the truth, Bobby. You've just got to accept it. That you are not the coolest of all the cool, Bobby.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 6 of the Nintendo PlayStation Podcast. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by my best friend in all the land, Mr. Toby Thornton. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty damn good, Bobby. I've had my triple P, and...
please stop, man. Please stop.
It's important to have the triple P, Bobby. Do you have the triple P?
No, I don't.
You don't? I don't believe that.
I did not today.
Okay.
I don't typically.
Sean Capri has the triple P. I guarantee that.
That's where Sean Capri rates podcasts.
Yeah.
So yeah. Although he hasn't rated this podcast yet, which upsets me a little bit.
Oh no.
He might have. I don't know if I can. Lovely Apple. I can't read what people put if they don't live in the country.
No. Okay. Well.
So he might have. He might have rated us. Oh Lord.
How are you then?
I am good. I am well. I'm a little tired. I didn't go to bed till about 12:30 last night. Mm-hmm. And then I wake up to texts from you and tweets and nonsense, and because you're just you're up in the morning and you're just you're all living all morning, like 5 hours, like just before I wake up you've been like going at it. It's lunchtime for you, and I'm like just out sleeping.
Yeah, but you're like an old person, Bobby.
Like when I'm going to bed, you're basically like not far from waking up.
Yeah. It's true.
Ridiculous.
But those tweets were good, weren't they, Bobby?
Oh, yeah. They were. So, what was it? What's the name of the game? Hazelnut?
Hazelnut Bastille.
Is that the one you've been telling me about?
Yeah, I told you about it a while ago. Yeah. It's like a Zelda type game. So.
But it looks fantastic.
It's gorgeous.
Looks like A Link to the Past.
Yeah, but it's kind of, to me, it's like A Link to the Past crossed with Secret of Mana. It's kind of, it seems much more fluid. You've got way more abilities than Link to the Past, but it is that classic top-down pixelated Zelda look to it. It's gorgeous.
It's pretty amazing. I'm not gonna lie.
And the developer wants to put it on Switch, so they're going to be doing like a crowdfunding campaign soon. So
but they
maybe
also,
that'll be one of the goals.
That's what they said. They're doing. They're making a major announcement on in October. If this is Kickstarter, I will back it immediately.
Oh, definitely, me too. Yeah.
No doubt about it. Like I want this thing to come to Switch like right away. It looks fantastic. So Toby, let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our Geek Outs.
Geek Outs. I'm getting a little better every time.
Slowly, the British is coming in. You know, it's funny. Real quick before we jump in, I did an episode of Nintendo Talk Live last week with Jack Gilbert from Ojo. I don't know. Did you watch that episode or no?
No.
Okay.
I don't watch the live ones, Bobby.
No, but it's still in the feed. It's still on YouTube. Okay. You can go back and watch them. You should.
Yeah, I'll go back.
They're really good. They're good interviews a lot of times. But he worked for Ojo, and he's British.
Yeah.
The funny thing in the chat, Sean's like, show him your British accent. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not doing that, man. This is like, what are you, nuts? But he talks about, I laugh so hard. He goes, you know, us British, we're very pessimistic and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I know. Trust me, I know. I know how that is. But Toby, what are you geeking out about this week?
Something else Twitter related.
Mm-hmm.
So earlier in the week, I was scrolling through Twitter, and I don't know how I found it, but there was a someone like shared a competition post to win something, and all you had to do was like it and retweet it and follow the guy. And I did that, and I won, Bobby. I won a Twitter competition.
What did you win?
I won Spider-Man on PlayStation 4.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I think there was like 260 odd people that retweeted it, so I was so lucky to win that.
Get out of here, man.
I sent it to Karina that I felt like I won the lottery.
Who was it?
His name, I wrote his name down, hang on. It's I am Dan Japan.
Nice.
Yes,
that is
so
awesome.
If you want to go and follow that guy, he's awesome. So
I'm going to have to follow him now. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Well, he don't know who the hell we are. Whatever.
No, he won't know.
He's like, whatever.
We're no one.
Yeah, we're nobody to him. Anyway. Myself, I ain't geeking out about something I just bought last night. No, it's not the Nintendo Switch. It is the Hori left Joy-Con D-pad. So for those that aren't watching the video,
that's conjoined.
It's the thing. It's awesome.
That looks good, Bobby.
Yeah, it's a D-pad. It's just the left Joy-Con. It doesn't have rumble feature. It doesn't have gyro in it. It's just basically for when you're playing the Switch and you want a proper D-pad in handheld mode. It's there.
If it doesn't have motion controls and doesn't have rumble, how long does the battery last on it?
Well, that's the thing. Originally, I don't know, and this is why I'm going to say that, because originally there was a glitch in it where it was actually draining the Switch battery.
Oh, really?
Even when it was in sleep mode.
Oh, okay.
But apparently with the latest update, it fixed that. So I don't know the battery life on it, to be honest with you. But it charges off of the Switch. So when you're in handheld anyway, both Joy-Cons are charging off the Switch.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah.
So that's not an issue. I've used it on a couple of games. Feels really, really nice. Like I'm a fan of this thing a lot. Cool. So I strongly suggest people grabbing that thing if you can, because if you are into, you know, especially with the NES games coming to the Switch, that coupled with there are some really good indie games that feel retro. That's pretty awesome to have.
Is it cheap? I'd expect it to be cheap.
Yeah, it's so it retailed for $24.99. I actually had coupons at GameStop because this one in particular was a GameStop exclusive. It's the Mario one. That's why it's red and stuff. I wanted the Zelda one. If I can find the Zelda one, I'll buy that one because that was black and gold. But that said, I paid $20 for it.
Nice.
So it was you know, no big deal. And that was even after taxes, $20. So that was good. Good little deal. So let's jump into the news, shall we there, Tobes?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So at this point, for those that are new to the show, what happens here is I will bring 3 Nintendo-based news articles, and Toby will bring 3 Sony-based news articles, and then I will pick the Sony news item that I want to hear, and Toby will talk about or pick the Nintendo one that he wants to hear. So I'm going to go first this week.
You were first last week?
No, you were first last week.
Really?
Yeah. You've been first a lot lately.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I think you're making that up, Bobby. Go on. You can go ahead, though.
You're such a loser. First story I have is how many games are actually on the Nintendo Switch in the West? Reggie talks about competition. And Toys R Us is making a comeback in the United States.
So firstly, I read something about that last one that I think is a bit confusing.
Okay.
So anyway, let's go with the first one. I'm more interested in that first one than any of
Really?
those. Yeah.
Of all of them? Man.
Well, yeah, because the second one is just
fluff.
Not interested.
Yeah.
But
there are now 1,100 Nintendo Switch games released in the West. The Nintendo Switch game catalog has hit a new milestone as of September 29th, 2018. As of that particular week, the Switch had 1,125 Nintendo Switch games that have been released in North America, 1,107 in Europe, and only 740 in Japan.
that's interesting.
Yeah, when you actually go games across all regions.
Is this including digital?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So when you actually go against all regions, it's 1,247 games.
Right.
Assuming there's an average of 25 games released at retail on the Nintendo Shop every single week. That is insanity.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But going off of that average, the way it's going, the Nintendo Switch catalog would have at least 1,600 by the time it hits the second anniversary on March 3rd.
Does that worry you, Bobby?
Yes and no. Yes, because, dude, it is so, in my opinion, it is so hard to find good games. Like, to just genuinely find good games. These games get pushed through the eShop so fast. And I feel like Nintendo is doing a horrible job of curating their eShop with highlighting the games that people should really go buy. And I know there's people going to disagree with me on that, but that's just my feeling. Like I've talked to people, and I talked to people on the game side of things, and it's just when you talk to them, there's some things that they're not doing properly that could help the smaller developers. That said, it's awesome to see some of these great games coming. I think what bothers me a little bit is how much they push the games that they really don't need to push, and how they don't push the games that they need to push. Example, Fortnite. Like, that game doesn't need any push whatsoever. But when you watch them tweet over and over and over and over,
yeah,
the announcement of Season 6, it's like, oh my God, dude, we know it's here. Like, everybody knows Season 6 is here.
It's kind of like, like movie studios and even game companies, they make sequels because they are safe and they are almost always guaranteed to bring in a profit.
Yes.
So I think that Nintendo tweeting out and promoting the surefire hits, it is a smart business decision, because promote the stuff that sells, it's going to sell even more. I know that it doesn't cost really anything to do a tweet for a developer or whatever, but I don't know, it must be hard, like, picking games, because you can't just do every single game, because like you say, there's just so many.
I would like to see them, and I brought this up a couple times. I don't know which shows I've talked about it. Okay, God forbid I have so many shows. But the thing is I would like to see them create a new Twitter account that's Nindies based. Yeah, and that's where you could push a lot of this stuff. And then if you want to do, even spotlighted stuff, even the stuff that rises to the top on the big one, then you can, But I think that they should find a way to curate it. I mean, dude, 1,000 games.
Yeah.
Now the part of me that goes like, this is awesome, is the part of me that owned a Wii U, and there was nothing to play on the thing. Dude, it is stark contrast. You know,
we're spoiled now. Really.
Oh, dude, without a doubt. Because here's the thing: when you and I both were avid Wii U players, and I remember, dude, where how did I defend the Wii U? Like now, looking back, like in terms of like games, how did I defend Nintendo in that era? Because my answer was real simple back then. Well, I have all the games I want to play, and I'm fine. You know what I mean? Now I look at it and I go, I don't even have time to play all the games that are out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But it just makes you wonder, like, man, like if they were to scale this back, like maybe a quarter, things might be a little better. Like, dude, 1,100 games is a lot of games, man.
Well, yeah, definitely. And when you're scrolling through the eShop at the new releases, you know, sometimes it is hard to pick out stuff that's good, you know, because there are a lot of shovelware, a lot of mobile phone, like ports that's just quickly put on there. They don't push it. No one's advertising it. It just appears out of nowhere. And some of that stuff is okay. It's cheap enough, but trying to like go through it, it's a bit like much, you know.
Yeah, it's hard, man.
And I do feel sorry for those developers that are working hard to make their dream game. They put it out 1 week when there's 30 other games, and it just gets lost. And especially with the fact that the eShop is so, you know, there's so much on it now. Like, to find stuff that came out 6 months ago is almost impossible. Like, they need to be able to categorize it properly. But what I find really interesting, though, is the fact that you say there's only 700 odd out in Japan.
I know, right? So I thought that too.
So that maybe, like, in Japan, they are curating it a bit more, and they are a bit more select.
I think what it is a lot of indie developers don't pay to have the games translated into Japanese. I think that's what it is.
It could be.
I'm looking at this, right? I'm perusing the eShop. So the only thing that stands out to me this week, 2 games, Mega Man 11 and Mario Party. And there is so much stuff that I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, you don't know what it is. And what's also funny is that because it's all thumbnail based, you have to read the picture, like what's written on the picture, to see what the game title even is. And a lot of them, I can't even tell what it's called because it's just such a messy thumbnail. And you have to literally click on it and then watch the trailer to like figure it all out. And it's just...
Telltale also dropped Batman. Season 2 of Batman on there this week. And that's a story that's getting out of control, honestly. That's like...
Did you hear about what's happening with the final season of Walking Dead?
No, I haven't heard that.
Let's talk about that quickly, because that's not on my news list.
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman's... I don't know if it's like a game studio or something. It's called Skybound.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just his entertainment thing, but that studio has picked up the rights to finish season 3 of The Walking Dead by Telltale. So I think they're gonna hire the developers to finish that season off and do it correctly. So
interesting.
Because everyone was worried that it just wasn't going to get finished.
Well, they were talking like after episode 2, it's done. Yeah, and it wasn't even a long episode. It wasn't really a long season. It was only going to be 4 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't like stuff is coming out now, and it's insanity. The news that's coming out of it. I know that Ubisoft also held like a dinner with drinks and told anybody that worked for Telltale to show up, and we could talk about getting you guys jobs.
Awesome.
That was pretty awesome. I know that they were up in the air. Like, they didn't even... The last I had heard... This is what's crazy. The last I had heard was that Batman Season 2 wasn't coming to the Switch. And I was a little upset about that because I played Season 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to play Season 2. And I want to and I know people can be like, oh, you can play it on PlayStation or Xbox. You can't play those games that way. Whatever you start on is how you should continue on.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because it keeps track of what picks you did in Season 1, and it plays off of that. People will remember things that you did in Season 1, as you move forward in Season 2. So, for me, I really wanted to continue on with Season 3, or Season 2 on the Switch. It does upset me, though, that this will be the final season that we get of Batman.
Yeah.
Of a lot of these games, because it's just...
Well, yeah.
I just think that... Go ahead.
Sorry, I was really excited about the Stranger Things project.
Yes,
because I think that could make a brilliant game.
Yeah,
it?
Absolutely. And it's... Sadly, it's just... The higher-ups, just honestly... I think they took on so much work. Because they were announcing new stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think they took on too much stuff rather than... Yeah. I remember listening to Podcast Beyond and Colin talking about, they need to just stop. Go fix their engine and then come back strong.
Yeah.
And they never did that. And still to this day, it's a janky mess, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So it's like, man, a game that really shouldn't be a mess is a mess, and that's sad, But I got to tell you, man, the games that they did right, I really enjoyed. Now they are talking about also doing Minecraft as well, right? Finishing off Minecraft, which I'm not really. I could care less about that stupid game. That game is kind of dumb. Yeah. So anyway, Toby, what stories you got for us?
All right, so we've got PSN name changes could finally be on the way, according to a new report. Amazon is making an MMO, and the first leaked footage appeared on Pornhub. And thirdly, Bobby's cracking up. Russia 2055 trailer shared by Kojima is suspicious.
Damn you. There's some good stories there, man. The Pornhub one's got me interested.
Yeah,
but that's just because I'm a perv, and that's all that is. The Kojima story.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right one to talk about.
Okay.
All right, one sec. Just got to get it up.
Oh, you know what? You got to get it out. You should just have this stuff linked, or you just click a button and go.
I've got it right here, Bobby. Just relax.
Okay. You relax, man. I'm getting. You know what? You've been real salty, and I'm getting real tired of it, man.
Are you ready?
I've been ready. Let's go. We're doing a show here.
Death Stranding director Hideo Kojima has shared a trailer for a game called Russia 2055 on social media today, and it's being developed by a studio we've never heard of before. Ordinarily, we shrug and move on with our lives, but this is the same guy who created a fictional developer named Moby Dick Studios and hired a Swedish actor to appear in an interview with Jeff Keighley, complete with bandages around his face. Here's the blurb for the game. In year 2055, US forces and Russian military conflict halts as they defend Earth from the first alien invasion that's first started in Russia. It's a futuristic military first-person shooter game with a multiplayer of up to 64 players. There's no word of platforms, but it's apparently been created by a team named Invictus Volition, which joined Twitter last month. The game was shared on an Unreal Engine message board a few days ago by an account that was created in 2015. It's perfectly possible that Kojima saw this and thought it was cool, so decided to share it, but you just never know with the Metal Gear maker. So it's one of those things that, it's a bit out of the blue to share this game that no one's ever heard of.
He does weird stuff all the time.
And he does weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
So do you think that sounds like some sort of tease or hint about Death Stranding?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I do. It doesn't make sense. So the developer's been in business for a while, working on it. In theory, okay?
Yeah.
It's at least 2015. And they just created Twitter a month ago?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, and the way that he shared it just out of the blue. I don't think he shares stuff like that all the time.
No.
I don't know, it doesn't seem like the sort of game that he would like. I mean, I don't know what he likes really, but you know, you picture him liking more cinematic, story-driven games. You know, but like a multiplayer game, a first-person shooter. I don't know. I mean, there's just something weird about the whole thing.
It might be, and honestly, what it might be is it might be a part of what Death Stranding is. Meaning like we have maybe they're incorporating a multiplayer in Death Stranding.
Could be,
which is very possible. You know what I mean? Like his games could honestly, like Metal Gear, could have easily had a multiplayer. In it, you know, that would have been pretty. And it kind of did when you think about the base mechanics. You know, the way you had you didn't play much of Metal Gear, right?
No.
So what happened is you build your base, and then people could attack your bases and stuff.
Yeah.
And do, you know, kind of like a sim builder when it comes to things like that. So this doesn't really shock me in those terms. Like, if that was the case, I just definitely think there's more to this story because he is very quirky.
The thing is, I hope that there is more to it because it sounds like that would be more interesting than him just sharing some random new game like that. You know, it could be something like Ground Zeroes. You know, he might put something out before Death Stranding comes out.
Better do something, man.
That's related to Death Stranding.
Death Stranding's a 2025 game easily.
Yeah.
Like, that game does not look... We've seen no game footage. Just trailers.
Well, I would argue there is game footage in the trailers, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, you don't know what gameplay really is. Other than walking.
I'm tired of this guy. I mean, listen, I love Kojima. You know that. You, if anybody, know that I love Kojima. But this particular game, I really have zero interest in right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that I wish that Sony and him, although this is, oh man, I'm sorry, I yawned a little bit, my bad. This game is not like, it's not piquing my interest at all. Just something about it, it's just making me like, and I don't know why. And that shouldn't be the case, honestly. Shouldn't be the case at all. So anyway. Let's jump into our topics there, Toby. You want me to go first this time, or
you're trying to like restrain another yawn, aren't you?
No, trust me.
All right, let's do my one quickly.
Okay, let's do yours.
So PSX is officially cancelled this year. Mm-hmm. It's not a thing. Basically, I want to know how you feel about that. Like, do you think what do you think the reasons are, and is it good or bad?
The reasons I'm not 100% sure with. I will say that last year's PSX was very disappointing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I feel like Sony is so out of touch with reality these days. It's a mistake, man. It's a mistake. It's a huge mistake. You have an opportunity to talk directly to your people, like to your fans. E3 is not talking to your fans. And they to me, their E3 was horrible too. So that's what I'm saying, where like they're so out of touch with reality right now. PSX was a spectacular thing. I remember when PSX got announced, how many podcasts, Nintendo-based podcasts, were going like, man, why can't Nintendo do this? Mm-hmm. And then you cancel it. And it makes 0 sense. I don't understand it at all. I think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
I also think the way they handled last year was a mistake. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Honestly, for me, they should leave E3 and PSX should be their thing. PSX should be where they make their announcements, in my opinion.
The thing is, I think PSX it was good for the fans because, like you say, it's more of a fan event than a media event. But they do announce stuff there. But I think the timing of it is weird because it's always butted up right against the Game Awards, and they like to announce things there as well as PSX. And then you got E3, and then there's Tokyo Game Show, and there's Gamescom, and there's Paris Games Week, and there's all these different events.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they're spreading themselves too thin.
But the thing of it is this: when you do something like PSX, that's very like it gets your base going. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah, I mean,
your
it's
fan
like
base
Nintendo
goes
Direct.
Yeah. Because they don't do things like that. Like Nintendo, it would be, in my opinion, it'd be like Nintendo just going like, we're not going to do Nintendo Directs anymore. It's very similar. You know what I mean? Like, it's your ability to get the hype going into the beginning of the year. You know what I mean? And I don't know. If I was a hardcore Sony fan, if Nintendo did this and then pulled the plug, I would be devastated. Because I would be like, man, this is like a cool event where you get to go meet developers, play games. Like, it's very fan-focused. And I know there's a lot of shows out there, and people can go do it. But when you have a show run by the company, and it's focused on the company, celebrating, kind of, like, that to me is the perfect thing to do. When I first heard this, I'm going to be honest with you. When I first heard this story, I thought, typical Sony. Like, they just pull the plug on stuff. Like, they can't support multiple things. It just feels that way. They have zero ability to support multiple things at once. It's like, it's almost like a kid with ADD, where they can't focus on multiple tasks. They can only focus on this, and that's it. And this is PS4. VR isn't. They don't even talk about it anymore, hardly. You know, the Vita's dead. The Vita was always the redheaded stepchild that basically couldn't... It's just what they do, you know? And it's like, I don't understand it. I don't understand their mindset when it comes to this stuff.
I think, I'm not sure what the exact quote is, but they were saying that they didn't want to get their fans hyped up for an event when they've not got that much new stuff to show. Like, that was the gist of what they said, that, you know, their reasoning behind why they're not doing it. And I think maybe is because...
You have the PlayStation Classic. You could have leaned heavily on the classics and the old school and all. Like, that, dude...
Yeah, but what about PlayStation 4, Bobby? Because I think PlayStation 4 is wrapping up next year. You've got Days Gone, which they've showed lots of already. Last of Us Part 2, yeah, that'd be cool to see more of that. There's Dreams, Ghost of Tsushima, Medieval, but then there's like Death Stranding and Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I don't think they're going to show any of that stuff. Yeah, but... And that's pretty much it for like exclusive PlayStation stuff that we know about. And with PlayStation 5 presumably on the horizon, unless they're going to start talking about that, I'm not sure that they could fill an event like PSX.
Yeah, but if you look at what they did last year. They just sat on the couch and talked to developers.
Yeah, but that sucked, and they know that sucked, and they don't want to do that again. So,
well, the thing of it is because it makes me wonder: has Sony essentially shut their wad? Like, are they done? Not done. And let me explain. Yeah. Let me explain because people.
I know what you mean by that. Like
not done in terms of like the company. In terms of like they've pushed out all their games, and they really don't have anything left in the chamber.
Well, yeah, those games that I listed are still coming on PS4, and they are something to be excited about. But I think that a lot of their first-party stuff now is on PS5, and I think that they're gearing up for that. You know, like, Nintendo went really quiet in the last years of the Wii U, and that's because they were getting stuff ready for Switch, and that's why Switch had a great first year. It's having a great second year. So I reckon that's what they're planning on doing with PlayStation 5. They know that that's their core audience. Yeah. I think they want to blow everyone away at E3 and tease PS5.
Here's a wondering thing. Do you think they announce PS5 at a PSX next year? Or do you think they do it at E3?
I think they might announce it at E3. And then the thing is, I don't know, because they had a short announcement to release with PS4. I think it was like spring, and then it was out at the end of the year. Yeah. So maybe E3 is too early if they want to do that again, but PSX is too late. So
let me ask you a question on this one now. Do you feel PS5 has become a thing because the Switch has stolen their momentum, or do you think it's really the time that they were going to actually release it?
I think that they're thinking more about Microsoft in terms of their Xbox Scarlet and what they're doing, because I think, one of your stories was Reggie doesn't consider Xbox and PlayStation as competitors. That's because they're doing very different things. Mm-hmm. They're not fighting for power, mm-hmm. whereas Microsoft and Sony are far more level on that, those terms. So, and I can see Microsoft wanting to get out first. So yeah. I think Sony needs to get into gear and get PlayStation 5 rolling. You know?
Okay, so my topic is, surprise, surprise, the announcement of Nintendo, the Nintendo upgrade. But kind of what I wanted to do was touch on a few things, because I want to hear your opinion on things. I've basically voiced my opinion on these subjects multiple times. But so a month ago, Marcus Sellers announced that there would be a new Nintendo Switch in 2019, that it would be 4K, that it would be 128 gig hard drive, that it would have 8 gig of RAM, that it would be 1080p on the actual handheld side of things, that it would do a lot of streaming, cloud-based gaming type things, and also that that Nintendo would allow third parties to develop for either one that they choose, while Nintendo would support both versions of the Switch. So he says that a month ago, and a lot of people, myself included, tell him it's BS. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
One in particular, and the only reason I say in particular is because he's actually gone and retweeted that tweet and basically took a little jab at him, was Per Schneider from IGN. Per was like, there is no way that this is happening. Like, stop making stuff up. Yeah. And then Wall Street Journal then this week announces that in 2019, particularly the summer 2019, Nintendo will announce a new Switch. Now it's reversed, and Marcus is acting like he got it right. And my feeling is he got one portion of it right.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, every single person that I know has said that Nintendo would iterate on this thing as time moved on. And kind of a lot of people felt like it would be pretty quickly, like almost an Apple type turnaround. Nintendo hasn't taken that Apple approach as quickly. Like Apple does it like every year, where, and actually they do it 2 times a year, where other people, a 3-year base is sounds all right to some degree. But what is your opinion on it? Because my question is a lot of times people that leak stuff will say this stuff, and then something gets announced, and it's kind of like, well, we kind of knew that portion of it, but do they get it? Like, does he get a check mark that he gets it all? Because
I think Marcus Sellers is a dweeb, and I think that I think that leakers in general are just attention seeking. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to be doing that sort of thing, other than you want people to follow you and like you and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You're like wielding some sort of power over these companies.
Yeah.
So, the fact that he said, oh, it's going to be 4K, it's going to have 128 gig, like all of these made up things that he's talking about, I think they were just ludicrous. No one's denying that Nintendo might have put out something new in 2019, like a smaller version of the Switch, or maybe even a slightly more powerful version, but it's not going to be a 4K gaming machine that's handheld, because it's ridiculous. Could you imagine the PlayStation 4, the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X looking like a Switch being portable? It's not feasible. No. It's not doable. No. Unless you want to pay over £1,000, probably not doable. So this guy is just a dweeb, and the fact that we're talking about him, he's getting that attention, and it's annoying, Bobby.
I think what annoys me is when it got announced, like with the Wall Street Journal, basically kind of confirms the rumor of 2019. He immediately starts tooting his own horn, like, I got it right. And it's like, no, you didn't get it right. Like, you got you listed a multitude of things. You got one minuscule thing out of all of it that you don't get the credit for it.
These people that do a grab bag of predictions or rumors or whatever, like they say, the Switch is going to have an Animal Crossing next year. It's going to have a brand new Zelda next year. It's going to have Mario DLC. And maybe one of those things is right, but they're kind of like they're all a little bit possible.
Yeah.
But just because one of those things came true doesn't mean that you are some guru that is all-knowing.
Yeah.
They're not Bobby Pauls. They're not Nintendo guru. They're dweebs.
Stop with the word dweebs, because that is so...
Just saying.
It's horrible. Because you listen to NVC, I listen to NVC, and I remember Pear bringing this up a while ago, and he said very similar to what you said. Like, it's like they'll announce, because if you remember when the Switch was about to be announced, they were saying like, oh, it's going to be on the power of a PS4. Mm-hmm. It's going to do this, it's going to do that, and it didn't do it. It wasn't even close at all. I feel like a hardware iteration is very close. Like, Sean and I were talking about it on If We Were Nintendo the other day, because I just want to hear other people's opinions on it, so I keep asking people. And Sean was the same thing. He's like, I don't think it's going to be anything. He's like, I think it'll be a new Switch. He's like, but I think the amount of upgrade is going to be so minute.
Exactly. The 3DS had many, many iterations. It got a little better each time, but it wasn't a massive leap. And the fact that he's saying that developers can choose to develop for one version or the other, like, that is ludicrous. Nintendo won't allow that. Like, that's so confusing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So they did it with the 3DS. But only 2 games actually made their way to do that.
2 games. They realized it was a bad idea.
Yeah. And that's what that's what I was getting at. Like, people will immediately point and go, well, they did it with the 3DS, but they realized straight off it was a bad move. It was a dumb idea. And especially when PlayStation and Sony, PlayStation and Xbox, they told developers, you need to develop for the old and the new when we put out the Pro and the X. And it's like, I don't see Nintendo diverting against that. Like, that's something you don't go against the grain of, because you're going to piss a lot of people off, especially when you have people that buy this thing for their kids for Christmas, and then Fortnite Omega comes out, right? And their kids can't play it because it's on a new console. Dude, you're going to piss people off so quickly, and that just doesn't make sense. Nintendo is riding this wave of success right now. I don't see them flipping the cart over and screwing that up, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will. I don't know. But I just don't see it happening at all. I don't know.
You say something enough times, it's going to come true at some point.
Like... And I feel like this. I feel like he lists all those things. That's all pie in the sky, and he knows people want those things. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I listed all these things. By the way, he deleted that tweet. You know what I mean? And I still have the tweet. That's why I know what he actually said. But he lists that tweet, right? And has it all these pie in the sky things that he knows people wants. But the caveat is the one thing that he nails is, oh, it's coming next year. And it's like, oh, I was right. No, you weren't right, dude. Like, you got a portion of it right. And it's not even a portion. You got one thing right. Like, let's see the 4K get announced. Let's see the 1080, which I think possibly 1080 is very feasible and very possible to happen. I mean, this screen, it runs in 1080, so it's not a shock to think that the Switch could run 1080.
And it would be nice, like, in terms of an upgrade, having games run better in handheld mode and look a bit crisper. There are issues with some games, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 drops down to below 480p sometimes, because the handheld mode's just not quite powerful enough for large open worlds like that.
Which makes me wonder, too, like, really, what's the difference? All you're doing is putting on a dock. Like, there's really nothing in that dock.
No, not well. I think there's something to do with the the fan being more like, because the fan uses a lot of battery or something, so maybe putting it in the dock because it's
it
plugged
cuts
in.
back on power resources.
Yeah, I think
Gotcha.
so.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, Toby. So before we wrap up, I want to give you the opportunity to tell me what you're playing.
I've been playing the same 3 or 4 games for like 4 weeks, Bobby. So
really?
I've got nothing new to talk about today. I'm sorry.
You loser.
I'm not a loser, Bobby.
You are a loser. You are trash, man.
Look, I've won Spider-Man on PS4. Next time I'll talk about
nobody cares about Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's gone now. I've been playing a couple of games that I do want to discuss. One, I'm doing a review on. I gotta try to work on it this week, man. I'm so behind. But Alawa's Awakening.
Oh, I was excited about that when they first announced that.
I am excited after playing it. So, I still have a little bit left to play on the game before I can actually do a review. But it's
Can you can't mention anything about it? Or...
I can say anything you want to know about it.
All right, so I got a question. How do you feel about the jumping? Because in the trailer, the jumping looks very slow.
The jumping is slow. It is floaty. It is not a platformer. But you also don't die or you don't take any damage from falling from high places or anything like that. That is very like, you jump and it's like real like a long float and stuff. So it's, but it's also not a fast, furious platformer. This game is more, in my opinion, is kind of like a puzzler in those things.
I like that.
So it's you're thinking more than you are like, the fast and furious enemies and stuff coming out where you got to quick jump and move and all that. So
cool. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about.
Yeah, I'll have the review. I'm gonna start working on it this weekend, and I'm off a couple of days this week, so I might actually try to bang it out the best I can on it. I started Undertale, just real early beginnings of it. So far, I'm not impressed. It's not drawing me back to go play it, so that's a little upsetting. And then I'm actually going to go pick up Mega Man 11 today. It got shipped to my mom's house. So
no.
Yeah, driving me crazy. I've been wanting to play it so bad. So I've been going back and playing the demo, especially with the new Hori pad. I was like, I gotta see how this feels, man. It just feels like heaven. What else did I play? I played some Fortnite this week with Jams over on the Co-op Kings. That is a lot of fun, dude, when we jump into that stuff. So, but I think that's
Hey, Bobby, when Animal Crossing comes out on Switch...
Oh, yes.
Can we play it together?
Of course. You're going to ask me a question like that? Like, we will legitimately, this podcast will go away and we'll just play. Like, you could take Karina to her mom's house, act like we're going to do the podcast, and we'll just sit here for 2 hours playing.
Yeah. I'd like to make some videos with you about that. That'd be cool.
I don't want to do videos with you.
Oh, Bobby, come on. People want to see me trolling you in that game.
I'm definitely going to do a lot with that game. I can't wait. Yeah, man, definitely. How about we wrap up on that? What do you think about the rumor on that one?
Oh, yeah.
Coming in March.
That's an exciting rumor, and that would be a very nice surprise. But the only thing is, I don't know when they would announce it. Like, if it's coming March, like, would it be in a January Direct? Like, that's pretty close. Like,
I think it's going to be its own Direct by itself.
Yeah.
Because that's a game me and Chelsea were talking about it.
They need to talk about a lot, yeah.
And it's not it doesn't show well. So you need to talk directly to the Animal Crossing fan base on that one.
Yeah.
They're the only ones who are going to get excited about seeing, a character running around a village. Because otherwise people will be like, this looks
Have you got any predictions about what's going to be new? Like,
not at this point. I don't, honestly. I just want it to be all that what New Leaf was and more. That's my only thing that I could say that I want. Here's another one, Toby, because I did this on Nintendo Guru Daily, and I don't know if you saw the video or not. What about the rumor that Shenmue is coming to Switch?
Yeah, that annoyed me.
Why?
Because I've already beat Shenmue 1, I'm playing Shenmue 2, it's glitchy, and they just got to fix it. Before they bring it to Switch, fix it. And it's like...
I was gonna play it, now you're telling me I don't want to play it now.
What really annoys me is that companies that bring games to Switch, they bring them late, And if they just said in the first place that it was going to come to Switch, I wouldn't have bought it on another system.
Yeah.
And it just annoys me. It's like Dragon Quest. Like, I know that that's coming to Switch eventually, so I'm not going to get it on PS4.
Yeah.
But if they never said that, I would have just bought it on PS4, got 40, 50 hours in, and then I would have had to buy it again on Switch and
that's
lose
the
all my
thing.
progress.
And that's the problem. I think they're trying to take advantage of that double dip.
Yeah.
Is the problem. I'm not a fan myself. That's the same thing as like what is it? The Stick of Truth.
Yeah.
Like thankfully I didn't buy that anywhere else. But like they could have announced that. Like they could have announced that at E3. They could have announced that last year when they announced Fracture. What's another thing? Why don't you just put them both together when you brought them out on the Switch?
Yeah, I actually think that Stick of Truth's better. I mean, I've not played the other one, but from what I've seen of the other one, I prefer Stick of Truth.
Yeah, I'm gonna when that comes out, I'm gonna play it and give it a serious go and all that stuff. So that is all. Thank you guys for listening to another.
Bobby, did we get any questions? We asked for questions last week.
No, we didn't get no questions.
We didn't get it. People, come on, send us a question. You want us to talk about something? Send us a question. I am at Toby's_take on Twitter.
Oh my god. Don't.
What are you, Bobby? Are you at Nintendo Gurus on Twitter? Send Bobby some questions. We want to talk about stuff. Also,
they can go into our Discord. We have a channel set up specifically. It'd be nice if you showed up once in a while to the Discord, said hello to people.
Yeah, I should.
You should. Surprise people.
It's only on my laptop. I forget if it's even on there, Bobby.
Put it on the phone, man.
I don't know.
What do you mean, no?
Because I haven't got space on my phone for
Just put it on the phone, man.
Oh my
Make
God.
space. Delete something. Delete your Pornhub off there.
I've got too many videos of my daughter on there and pictures every day. Just videos and photos and takes up so much room.
Delete that stuff. You don't need that.
Delete it. Delete your
that.
memories.
You don't need
Make
that
room
kid.
for the Discord.
You don't need that kid on there. Get it out of there. Push her on. Anyway, that is all. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Nintendo PlayStation Podcast. Please be sure to check us out everywhere that you can. Share it. Let people know about us. We are available on iTunes. We're Google Play, YouTube, all that good stuff. You can follow me at Nintendo Gurus over on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow Toby at Toby's_take on Twitter. Amiibo Workshop over on Instagram.
Don't follow me on Instagram. I don't use Instagram anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're such a bum. Anyway, that is all. Peace out, Preston.
Peace out, Cub Scouts.
You are so stupid. You are like the worst person in the world.
Yeah, I know.